about to get into this discussion. I got two things I'm going to talk about today. So if you are here early, do me a favor, hit the like button. It helps the YouTube algorithm. All right, smash that like button. And if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing, but don't subscribe until after you like what I gotta say. All right, don't just subscribe to subscribe, but please just like it because YouTube will push this video out. All right, I see you guys already showing up on Instagram Live. Thank you so much. I see you guys watching on YouTube and on Facebook. Make sure you guys leave your comments. Let me see if this works. I don't know if that's going to work. I'm going to try it anyway. I have certain automatic things up and ready to play. Ah, yeah, it works. Praise God. All right, do me a favor in the chat. Let me know where you're watching from. We'd love to hear it. Okay. All right. We're gonna have a dope discussion. So make sure you guys light up the chats because we really want some dope engagement. Into tonight's discussion. All right, into tonight's discussion. Okay. 8 seconds left. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I'm gonna just let it phase out. I'm gonna let the music just phase out. That beat hits. Whole purpose is to get you guys excited about the live stream. Let me make sure my angles are good. All right. This could go down a little bit. All right, that's better. This can go down, but it's good. What's going on, everybody? This is Dre. You're now watching Harrison Family Values, the podcast. Wait. Gotta make sure that everything is ready to go. So when I press the podcast. All right, I didn't change it. All right. Yeah, either way, thank you guys so much for watching. Greatly appreciate it. We got some new things coming up on the podcast. So stay tuned to the end so I can tell you what's going to be coming around the corner, what's new with Harrison Family Values. All right. So guys, if you know or been a follower of the channel for any length of time, you know that for several years, I was a single father, meaning that I was the sole person responsible for raising my kids. I had custody of my 3 sons, pretty much raising them on my own. So I understand the complexities that comes in when you invite the court system into your life to help you navigate how things are going to go with you. I'm trying to be sensitive here, okay? How things are going to go with your children, okay? And in most cases, it's the fathers that get the very short end of the stick. Usually, courts are biased to single mothers, to women, and they try to stick it to men when it comes to visitation, when it comes to custody, when it comes to child support. I fully understand that. I was on the other end where I didn't have visitation because the kids live with me. I was receiving child support, was no longer anymore. And yeah, so I get it. And even with us, I wish it didn't have to get to that point, but because ideally, the best place to be is in a place of peace where 2 adults who are mature enough to understand that we're no longer in love, but we do love the children. So let's work this out amicably, okay? And do what we need to do 50-50 for the kids, or 100% for the kids. But today, we live in a time, well, actually not just today, for generations now, we live in a time where women feel, many women, not all, many women feel like they own the children. And to be perfectly honest with you, if I can just be honest with how I feel about the situation, I think modern feminism has played a huge role in that, especially with this my body, my choice. It seems like today with certain narratives out there, men are expendable and only used as utilities when it comes to the family. They are not encouraged to take full part of the child's life, especially after a divorce, or if there are 2 people who decided to get it in, which is why I don't agree with recreational intimacy, and they have a child out of it. They tend to, believe that the child is theirs because they were pregnant with the child. You weren't the only person to help make the child, but they were pregnant with the child. So, you want to wrap to that, Vin? I see you. Oh, what's going on, Chelsea? Glad you were here. Glad you were here. All right. But women feel like, some women feel like they have ownership to the child because they gave birth to the child. Okay. And the thing is, truth be told, I think society as a whole feel that way. I was raised by a single mother, and my grandmother was there too. And I think they did a pretty good job, if I may say so myself. But I also felt the void of not having a father in my life. And I had amazing men, from my Uncle Jake, Dwight, my pop, who I call my brother's father, who I call Pop. Like, I had amazing men in my life. Amazing men. My godfather, amazing men, right? But they weren't full-time there. So I felt the void, right? And today, men are looked at as just as a utility to give a woman a baby. And I'm going to say this, and this is going to upset some of you guys, especially you ladies. And I mean this in all due respect, with all the love in my heart. It seems like you guys desire to have a child just because you want to have a child. And it makes you feel like you have achieved something in life. And then when you have this child, you use them as an accessory in your social media. And I think you miss the point of having a child. And I'm going to say this, and I say this in love. It's a very selfish place to be in if you want to have a child and not give that child a 100% full-time present father at the same time. Because you having a child is not about raising a family and bringing a child into a more suitable position to succeed in life. You just want to have a child for yourself. And I think that could be deemed as selfish. And I know that that's harsh to say, but we have to talk about it. We have to talk about it because there was this content creator who said that her growing up in a two-family home was a life hack. It was a life hack. And I think that this is statistically done, this is studied. Children who grow up in two-parent homes are more likely to grow up to be more secure in themselves and be more successful. So growing up in a single-parent home sets you back compared to those who grew up in a two-parent home with a mother and a father in the home present to help raise that child. So I'm not saying, and I get it, because I enjoy being a father. I enjoy being a dad. But I would have never wished on anybody that they would just be a single father. I enjoy, and I know that there's women out there who enjoy being mothers. You enjoy it. But this idea that you can raise a child by yourself is a very selfish and, dare I say, a narcissistic ideology. And I'm not saying that you are a narcissist, but to think that you are all your child is going to need is not only false, but you're feeling yourself way too much. Way too much. So wanting a child in your life, or to have a child in your life just because you want to have a child is very selfish, and you're not thinking about what's best for that child in the long run. And I say that in love, not out of judgment. I grew up in a single mother home. I'm not here judging you. But truth be told, according to the data out there, children who grow up in two-parent homes grow up more secure and tend to be on the path of success more consistently. Okay? A video I'm going to share is about a mother who probably felt the same way. The child belongs to her. This, regardless of what the court order said, that they had the child 50% of the time, she thought, as the mom, she can just keep the child away from the father. Now let's watch this video and see how this played out, okay? Let's see how this played out, okay? Here we go. Please let me know if you can hear it by putting a 1 in the chat.
He does have opportunity or does have the right to take the child, pick up the child, and be involved in the schooling. He would have that right anyway pursuant to MCL 722.30.
Yes.
Ma'am, don't shake your head unless you know the law. Or that the child be turned over to him immediately, forthwith, and that he will have the child for the 63 days that he has been denied as make-up parenting time. As a result of your failing to turn over as this
Now
court
watch
has ordered, the
this.
court is going to remand you
This
to
is
the
new.
Calhoun County Sheriff,
Okay.
where you will remain incarcerated until such time as the child is turned over to the plaintiff.
Okay.
So you can go with the deputy. I'll have the deputy take you. He can take
Can you
you
go,
into the
fella?
holding tank, and then we'll see that you're going to have to make your
Never
phone
thought I would
call
see
and
the
make
day.
sure that whoever where the child is, that the child is turned over. But at this point, you will remain incarcerated until such time as the child is.
Wow, 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 wow. So let's do a quick recap. This mom kept, hey, everybody in the chat, thank you so much for being here. Tommy and Mommy is in the chat too. Hey, Mommy. So this mom, single mother, decided to keep her child away from the child's father, for 63 days. Now, here's the thing. Shout out to the lead attorney. I don't agree with him on a lot of things, and I would love to have a conversation with him. I got to be honest with you, and I say this, considering that he's out here trying to help men, without really, and maybe I haven't seen it, but without him really apologizing for putting a lot of the men that he's trying to help now in the position that they're in, because he represented, as he admitted, women in the custody battle in divorce proceedings, and the goal was to take as much as they could from the husband who was going to be divorced. And so it's hard for me, I'm gonna be honest, it's hard for me to just rock with him all the way because of that. But nonetheless, he talked about situations like this often on his channel. And he mentioned one time that men generally don't fight for custody because they're afraid that they won't get it anyway. Now, I think men must vet their lawyers properly if they do get lawyers, or research the law so that when you go into family court, no matter what state you're in, and you vie for custody or joint custody, you must know the law so that you can speak to it in order to get the joint custody. Because in a lot of cases, the mom will have sole custody, or it might be joint custody with the parent being the custodial parent, the mom being a custodial parent. But you must know family law in the state that you're living in, okay? So this mom kept the father away from the child, or kept the child away from the father for 63 days, and they have 50-50 joint custody, which means that the child is with both parents 50% of the time. She kept the child away from him. That's against the law. Now, many fathers will probably not go to court because they think it's not going to matter, or they go to court, and in some cases, depending on who's presiding, they may not get any justice out of it. But in this case, the judge was like, you kept the child away from the father for 63 days, and you have a court order stating that you have 50-50 custody. So now you're going to release the child to the dad, and he's going to have the child for 63 straight days, the same amount of time that you kept the child away. And not only that, wait. We're talking about court, right? Not only that, okay, since you kept the child away illegally, you came to court. He's pretty much saying, you wanted the court to get involved. This is how the court's going to get involved, right? Because you kept the child away that long and you broke the law, okay? You went against this court proceeding. You're going to be incarcerated until the person that you have guarding your child right now releases the child to the father. So mom, who thought she had full rights to the child, who, I haven't seen this done yet, who kept the child away from the father, is now going to be spending time in jail until that child is given to the father, and only then, after that, she will be released. I don't know about you guys, but I think that's justice. I think that's justice. The child needs both parents in their life, not just one. And just because, and I say this, like, I have all the respect for women in the world. You guys get to experience something that men could never experience. You guys actually incubate life. You guys actually have the opportunity not to create life. I don't care what people say. You don't create life, okay? God made it so that the man and the woman creates life. You don't create life all by yourself. So let's stop with that narrative, okay? You're not goddesses. You're not gods bringing in life because you don't do it by yourself. But you guys do have this unique opportunity to be as close to the child as any human being could be. That child is growing inside of you until it's able to independently live on their own. Well, not independently, but be able to breathe and function with their organs outside of you, okay? That's a beautiful thing. And I think that alone makes it so that you deserve all the respect on the planet, okay? All the respect on the planet. You guys bring life into this world, okay? And we help you create that life. But you guys play a huge part in that. Without you, none of us will be here. But just because of that fact, it still stands. You don't have rights to the child just because you've gone through that. Or you shouldn't. And if you feel you do, think about your child 20, 30 years from now. You want to put your child in the best position possible? Make sure that the father and the mother, if you're a single father and you have custody of your kids, make sure both parents has access to the child. Because it's good for the child. Now, you guys are going to say, because there's a whole lot of you guys out there with the whataboutisms, okay? You guys love whataboutisms. There's always a what about. So I'll address some of the whatabouts. What about if he or she isn't good for the child and is unsafe? Okay. Then you go to the courts and you do what's necessary to help that father. Because I'm gonna be honest, you can keep the child away from the child, the father away from the child, right? The mother away from the child. But I'm telling you right now, in most cases than not, that child will still identify with that parent who's not doing well. First, I'm gonna pray for that parent. Okay. Second, I'm gonna keep talking to that parent saying, listen, we can't have the child around you if you're doing this. Okay, this is gonna affect them negatively. Right? But exhaust all options before you start just keeping the child away, because you're thinking you keeping the child away is going to hurt the father. And yes, or the mother. Yes, it's going to hurt them, but it's going to hurt the child way more, way more. And here's a good example of this. All right. Real world example. Okay. You have fathers who are incarcerated for doing some heinous things, right? But the truth of the matter is, the child who has never met the father, or maybe a couple of times through visitation in jail, starts to internalize who the father is. And the father's not even there. There was a moment in my life, right, when I was a teenager, where I literally, not legally, but literally hyphened my name. I wanted people to call me Andre Harrison Rivera, because my father's last name is Rivera. I wanted that because I wanted that identity. I wanted to be who my father was, even though I didn't know him. Same with the daughters. Same thing. They're going to internalize. It's going to happen. My mother never once spoke ill of my father. Not one time. And I'm glad she didn't, because had she, there's a huge possibility that I would have internalized every negative thing that she said about my father and would have thought I'm the same way. I need to be the same way. It takes two mature adults to put all their differences aside in order to come together and raise a child effectively. And shout out to the paid player, to players in demand. Thank you so much for the super chat. Let me read the comment real quick as I get this out of the way. I use this new format. All right, here we go. He said, without visitation is already a felony. Women are allowed to give a middle finger to the court orders. Different story when it comes to what happens to men who are in child support arrears. It could be, but that's where we got to understand how the courts play. And thank you so much for the super chat. And you are the official sponsor for tonight's episode. So thank you so much for your generosity. And I greatly appreciate you supporting this live stream. All right. But yeah, so here's the thing. In a lot of cases, so what happened in that video isn't the norm. It's not the norm. Okay. But men have to, fathers specifically, mothers too, but fathers must know their rights and must study the law. Because here's the thing. You can have an irate judge. You can have a jerk of a judge, right? A jerk of a hearing officer. But if you know the law and you present the law to them, they can't deny it. And if they do, they're in trouble. They have an opportunity to get in trouble, and you can report them. So you got to know the law and how it operates. And even if a single mother wants to give essentially a middle finger to the courts, then you got to do what you got to do in order for you to. And also, gentlemen, and I say this, if you are not paying child support and there's a court order to pay child support, pay the child support. Pay the child support. Don't. And it's one of those things where it's very difficult, but at this point, the courts are involved. Okay? And they want their money, and they're going to get their money, and they're going to do whatever it takes to get their money, including putting you in compromising situations. That will cause your child not to look at you in a more positive light, like spending time in jail, okay? Like not being able to travel out of the country because they confiscated your passport, things like that. So I'm just saying, like, I don't like the child support system as it stands today. I don't agree how they function within it, especially when you have fathers who is paying child support and they don't have equal access to the child. So the mom is entitled to have a huge portion of the dad's money, right? But the dad is not entitled to have a large portion of the child's time. There's an imbalance there, and there needs to be some reform there. But back to what I was saying, you got to know your rights. Pay the child support if you need to. And again, I think it boils down to men knowing their rights, because this lady spent time behind bars in the sheriff's jail until the child was released to the father for 63 straight days. You think that you're doing something because you are a woman and you have the organs that makes it capable for you to birth a child, and that child becomes automatically yours. First off, it's your body and your choice. Then, when the child comes out, it's no longer, well, it's still your body, your choice. And while you take that choice, you take the choice to take the dad to child support because it's your body, your choice. And now this man is going to help you fund your choice. I think it's all an imbalance. It really is all an imbalance. But if a child is brought into the world with love, with care, with the understanding that mom and dad is lovingly bringing this child into the world to help raise this child to be the best child that they can be, to help leave a legacy for families beyond what they can ever imagine, then that's very different. That's very different, which is why I don't, it's very difficult for me, and this is me speaking here, and I say this in love. It's difficult for me to hear women who just want to have a child because they just want to have a child. We have to think about what's best for the child. And what's best for the child, statistically, is a husband and a wife raising that child together. That's hard to say, and it's a hard pill to swallow, but I say it in love. I say it in love. I really do. And shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Thank you so much for being here. Brother Brandon is here. What's going on? And he's shouting out the Harrison extended family here. And Brother Chavis is in the building as well. Chelsea's here. All right. And if you're not following to their channel, please go to their channels and support these amazing, amazing individuals here in the chat. All right. So how's everybody doing on Instagram? I know you guys are probably like, yo, Dre, you're doing too much. You're saying too much. But all I want to do is get you guys to think about this and even start a conversation. Let's just have an honest conversation about this, and let's just think about it. Let's just think about it, okay? Let's think about it, all right? And I would like to know your thoughts. I really would like to know what you guys think, okay? Because I wanted to share a little bit about that and give some encouragement. The best place for your child to be is in a home with two parents. And if, because it's not always possible, if it's the case where the two parents live in separate homes, the next best thing for a child who lives in a home without the parent or with only one parent is to give the other parent equal access to the child. Now, I'm not saying have them come up all in your home and do whatever they want in their home. I'm saying no. They can have as much time as you spend with the child, they should be able to spend with the child. That's balance. That helps the child. And another thing that helps the child is you guys getting along. You don't got to be friends. Don't got to be taking family vacations together. You don't even got to be taking pictures together. But be cordial and work as a team, because it's what's best for the child. If you guys are no longer together, it's no longer about you. The other person is not your part. Because here's the thing, and I'm going to say this. Hear me out. Hear me out. If you make it difficult for the other parent to have access to your child, then you have made that other parent a priority over your child. Because if you made your child a priority, then you would allow that child to have access to that other parent. So you're no longer together, because when you're together, you have to make that other your spouse the priority. But when you're no longer together, that child becomes a priority. But if you make it difficult for that child to have access to the father or mother to have access to the child, you're still making that other parent a priority in your life. A priority so much so that you're looking to keep that parent away from your child and do what's not best for the child, what's in the best interest for the child. So the child's a priority. And the priority is do what's best for the child. Let me get a sip of this coffee. Yes. Be a unified front in the name of Jesus. And the Shamika Way saying the same thing. I've just been watching this channel. I haven't seen a lot of his stuff, but I'm gonna keep watching him. Yeah. Shout out to the Shamaki. I don't know how to say his name. Shamaki Way. Yeah. 100%. All right. So I'm going to end that portion of the night here, but I have something else I wanted to talk about. Okay. But before I do that, I'm going to split this video up. So thank you so much for watching this video and making it this far in the live stream or the video. If you haven't liked this video yet, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel and join the Harrison Extended family through subscription. And if you want to be a supporter of the channel, you can go to hit the membership button down below, or you can go to patreon.com/Harrison Family Values. Okay. I have a couple of things coming up, and I'm going to share those. And I share it right now. I have a couple of interviews coming up where I am renting out a space, a studio, and I'm going to be doing some interviews. And I'm starting a new series on this channel called Stories, where I will be sitting with couples and individuals to interview them about their life and share their stories with the world. So make sure you guys keep tuning in for that series that's going to be coming up very soon. All right. So thank you guys so much for watching. And now let's get into the next topic. Boom. All right. So Jonathan Majors finally speaks out. Somebody's calling me. I don't know who's calling me on the channel. All right. Sorry about that. So Jonathan Majors finally speaks out. And he had a lot to say. I feel bad for him. He was a rising star, 34-year-old young man who was taking Hollywood by storm. And was in movie after movie after movie. And then it all came crashing down. And it's because the young lady he was in a relationship with, him and her got into an altercation that was that led to some injuries. And all of this is alleged. Well, he was convicted, but I'm still going to say alleged. That and again, it was a very unhealthy situation for the both of them. And he spoke out. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then I'm going to add some commentary about what I feel is happening with Jonathan Majors. And how we can avoid being put in positions like that, and what you can do to move forward. Because I really would like to see this young man succeed. I do. But he's going to have to make some major changes. And people are going to have to forgive him if that's going to happen. So let's take a look at this interview. Hopefully I won't get flagged for copyright. I'm going to be playing this at 1.25 speed. All right? So let's take a listen to this, okay? Fair use, guys. Fair use.
Your reaction to that verdict?
Shock. I was
Put one in the chat if you can hear it.
And afraid. And I'm standing there, and the verdict comes down. I say, how is that possible? Based off the evidence, based off the prosecution's evidence, let alone our evidence. How is that possible?
Now, I was shocked too, based off of what I saw and things that, but I didn't talk about this. I did not talk about this. I thought this specific situation, I'm going to wait and see how it played out and see what the court said. Okay. Now, again, based on circumstantial evidence, an innocent man can be convicted and a guilty man could be exonerated and acquitted. So I'm not fully confident in the criminal court system because, again, it's all about how you present the evidence and how the jury interprets the evidence. It's very subjective. It really is.
But after only hours of deliberation, a jury of his peers agreed with prosecutors that he did physically injure his then-girlfriend, Grace Jabari, in an incident last March.
What happened exactly? Do you know?
No, I don't know. Was she unconscious?
That 911 call from Majors came hours after an argument broke out with Jabari in the backseat of an SUV, when Majors received a text from another woman saying, "Oh, how I wish to be kissing you." Jabari testified that when she grabbed the phone, Majors tried to get it back, fracturing her finger and giving her a cut behind her ear.
So I'm curious to know if this person who was texting him was making good. But again, a woman is texting him, and he talks a little bit about this, saying that he admitted to her that a woman was texting her. This is the tail end of their relationship. She grabbed the phone and essentially trying to steal the phone from him, and in trying to get it back. I guess things like this, according to what the story shares, that this is where she got her injuries.
Ear. She says inside the car, you hit her in the face,
Yeah.
twist her arm behind her back, fracture her middle finger.
Yeah, that did not happen.
How did those injuries come about?
And my apologies for it being low. I realized that as I'm listening to it in my ear, when he's talking, this part of the interview is on the right side of the speaker, so you'll be able to hear it on the right side of the speaker. And when she's talking, when she's giving commentary on it, it's on the left side.
I wish to God I knew. That would give clarity. That would give me some type of peace about it.
But you're confident you didn't
I
cause
have no
them.
question.
Surveillance video shows Majors getting out of the car, followed by Jabari, whom he then puts back inside the vehicle. What happens next is what the defense remains focused on. Majors runs off, and Jabari chases after him.
If you watch those videos and you reverse that,
And here's my question though, like what adrenaline is going through her body that she's running like this with a fractured finger? Like it's like if you have a fractured finger, it's gonna hurt. It's hurt. You want first aid. Like you want this fracture fixed. You're not just running around after the man who did it. I don't know. That's just me. But again, and I understand the pathology of people who have been in abusive situations, and they become. So I'm not saying that he's completely innocent here, because I read some of the text messages, and that they've shared prior to this, and he has shown the ability to be manipulative in that relationship. He has.
and you saw a black man chasing a young white girl down the street, screaming and crying, that man is going to be shot and killed in the streets of New York City.
Which is a good point. I think that's a valid point, that if the roles were reversed, based on how history has shown racial tensions to be, he would probably be in a very bad situation if the
Majors'
tables
defense
have
team
turned.
shared these photos, which he says show the injuries he received that night, which were deemed inadmissible in court.
How were you injured?
My injuries were a scratch on my hand, you know, from clawing for the phone. And I had a gash on my, at the time I had a beard. Under my beard, I had essentially a fingernail scratch on my, I guess my cheek from pressure. And that bled overnight.
But prosecutors say Majors was the aggressor. District Attorney Alvin Bragg says the evidence presented throughout this trial illustrated a cycle of psychological and emotional abuse. In court,
And I think that's where they got him, because the text messages and the conversation, the recorded conversation that they had of him prior to this, didn't make it seem like he could not have been the one who was physically abusive. Which is why let me share this. Let me go widescreen, okay? So, the Bible says, in it was First Peter. Well, the Bible says that we should dwell with our wives with understanding, and it goes on to say that we need to honor them as the weaker vessel, right? And in essence, still acknowledging the fact that they are joint heirs with us in God, right? But on honoring them as the weaker vessel and understanding this, men are biologically a lot stronger. The average man is biologically a lot stronger than the average woman. And Jonathan Majors is way stronger because he was in full-on bodybuilding mode for Creed, for Kane the Conqueror, and for other movies. So he's not no small dude. Like he got some build to him, right? You have to understand, gentlemen, that if you are in a physical confrontation with a young lady, your best bet is to walk away. Now, I know Whoopi Goldberg says that if a woman hits a man, she should expect to get hit back, which I understand that premise, because some women will abuse the fact that they are a woman and would beat on a man with the understanding that he's never going to hit back, because men are not supposed to hit women back, which I agree with. But if ever a man is in a situation and you are big and strong and she can't physically hurt you like that and she doesn't have a weapon, your best bet is to do what Jonathan Majors did and run. He should have did that right after he got the cell phone and left, and not try to put her back in that car. The video shows that, and it doesn't look good. But you run. And never go back to that woman. Ever. The moment she puts a hand on you, right, and then says something, yeah, go ahead and hit me, right? I know you're not going to hit me because you're a man. It's over. It's over. Do not be in that position, okay? And ladies, tell your sons the very same thing. Tell them not to let some women abuse them like that and pull them down. I'm just saying, okay? Run. You are bigger, you are stronger, okay? You don't need to retaliate in the very same way. I'm not saying turn the other cheek, but you better hightail it out there, because if the cops come, you're going to be the one off in handcuffs and not her, even if she's the one who started the altercation. Don't do it. You can cause serious damage, all right? All right, so let's continue.
prosecutors pointed to a previous argument during which he knocked a candle to the floor.
I completely lost my.
That's a good point, Brother Chavis. And I think leave a cell phone and file a police report. She stole my cell phone. Okay, I'm not saying to play this game, but yeah, like don't keep the physical activity away. Like don't touch.
My temper in that moment and threw it all on the ground. That's not something I would want my. Lost my temper in that.
Alvin Bragg says the evidence presented throughout this trial illustrated a cycle of psychological and emotional abuse. In court, prosecutors pointed to a previous argument during which he knocked a candle to the floor.
I completely lost my temper in that moment and threw it all on the ground. That's not something I would want my child to do, and I did that. I absolutely did that. And felt.
He's admitting.
And
he's admitting that he got upset and he threw stuff off of his table and a candle fell on the floor. Now, here's the thing about this, and I have to say this to all of you. Men are, and whether you want to believe this or not, men are emotional. We all are emotional, okay? Everybody is emotional. But it's more acceptable for women to express their emotions, and it's considered weakness if a man expresses theirs. But here's what happens if a man isn't able to freely express their emotions. It gets bottled up. And then And then when they feel like they're backed in the corner, they need to expel that emotion somehow, and it comes out a lot of times as rage. Because the general population, a lot of women, consider it weak for a man to be emotional. We're emotional people. We have feelings, we have needs, we have the need to talk about our issues as well. But we live in a society where it's considered weakness for that to happen. And then if it doesn't happen and we're backed in the corner and we express ourselves with emotion through rage, now we're toxic. If you're in a situation, gentlemen, with a woman and she does not respect you if you share your emotions, it's time to end the relationship. If you're in a marriage and that's happening, you guys got to see a marriage counselor immediately. Do not be in a relationship with a woman who deems you weak for expressing emotions, for sharing verbally how you're feeling. Because what's going to happen is you're going to bottle it up. And then you're going to feel like you can't take it no more. And then there's going to be things on your dinner table during an argument, and you're just going to want to brush it off the floor or get it out of your way. And then you look like the abusive, crazy person. Because now you're finally expressing your emotions, but it's been so bottled up that now it's exploding. Which is what happened to Jonathan Majors, at least what it sounds like.
The prosecution also played audio Jabari had recorded earlier in the relationship where Majors encouraged her to act more like Coretta Scott King and Michelle Obama.
I'm a great man. A great man. I am doing great things, not just for me, but for my culture and for the world. That is actually the position I'm in. The woman that supports me needs to be a great woman.
There are some who...
So, I agree with his sentiment here. But I think he's feeling himself just a little bit. Okay? Feeling himself just a little bit. And I think he is way too dependent on the women he is with. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. Way too dependent on the women he's with. Your greatness, a woman can help you enhance your greatness and become the man. Like just the other day, I saw a video of somebody giving a testimony about Michelle Obama. And in the testimony, the lady shared that one time President Barack Obama and Michelle Obama was driving in a town, and they wanted to go somewhere to eat. And usually, whenever they want to go somewhere to eat, they got to call in advance, scope out the place. So they decided to go to this really rinky-dink, not hole in the wall, but a very small, quaint restaurant. And they sat down and ate. And the waitress came out and said, the chef wants to meet you, Miss Obama. And, President Obama was like, yeah, go ahead, go meet the chef. Because he really wanted to meet Michelle Obama. So Michelle Obama went to go meet him. And when she came back, she said to Barack Obama, you're never going to believe this, but I used to date the man who is the chef here, head chef here. And President Obama said, oh, that would have been nice. Like, imagine you could have been the wife of the man who owned this amazing restaurant. And her response was, no. If we had gotten married, he would have been president of the United States. So, I got into a conversation with my brother CP the artist. He may see this differently, but it's a testament to how a man who is headed on a trajectory of success, when he has the right woman in his life, it'll only catapult him and add fuel to where he's going to go in life when you have the right woman. So I understand he's trying to say this here. He's trying to communicate this here, but he might be communicating it to the wrong woman, right? Like you're trying to make a woman what she's not, instead of trying to vet a woman and find a woman who's already that way. Because the Bible says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord, which means that the woman already has the qualities of what it means to be a wife. So when he finds that woman, he finds a good thing. And even in Proverbs 31, the Bible says, a virtuous woman who can find. It takes effort to find a woman who has the virtuous qualities. That's more precious than jewels, right? You have to vet a woman and find that woman. You can't just get a girl that you think is pretty, who's hot, who got everything that you want physically and say, you know what, I want you to be this for me. No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way, gentlemen. Okay? And he was in this position. That's his L. His L.
To question, especially in the black community, as you're probably well aware, that people were saying, well, why was he telling this woman to be like Coretta Scott King and Michelle Obama?
It was me trying to give an analogy of what it is I'm aspiring to be. You know, these great men, Martin, President Obama, and try and give a reference point to that. One of the things I also say is like, I need her. In that case.
I also think that the world is, America is so racially sensitive that a black man telling a white woman he's dating, I want you to be more like Coretta Scott King or more like, Michelle Obama is offensive. For crying out loud, universally, Michelle Obama seems to be an amazing person. Universally, Coretta Scott King seems to be an amazing person. Why would it be a bad thing if a woman who happened to be white, who happened to be Indian, who happened to be Asian, why would it be bad for that person, for any person to encourage any woman to be more like Coretta Scott King or more like Michelle Obama? Like, why is that a bad thing? All right, so we gotta be chill a little bit. Now I understand, like, I understand. I just understand. I understand what you guys are feeling, but let's just take it down a notch a little bit.
It's great to make the same sacrifices that I am making.
In a statement to ABC News, an attorney for Jabari said in part, it is not at all surprising that Mr. Majors continues to take no accountability for his actions, adding, the timing of these new statements demonstrates a clear lack of remorse for his actions.
Do you feel you're not responsible for her injuries at all?
I shouldn't have been in the car. I shouldn't have stepped out of the relationship. I shouldn't have been in the relationship. If I'm not in the car, none of this is happening. If I leave the relationship, none of this is happening. If I'm man enough or brave enough to say, I want to see somebody else, or I'm done now, I'm not in that car. We're not here. I'm responsible for those things.
But none of her injuries.
I can't say that. None of her injuries.
Okay. Now there's a part too that I want to play real quick as well, because it goes into his dependency on a woman. Now, if you look at in history, great men, right? Great men in civilization, you'll see an amazing woman right by their side, not behind them, but by their side. Okay. Megan Good is now seeing Jonathan Majors, and there's like an 8-year difference between the two of them, where she is older than him, and she's in his 40s, he's 34, and they're dating. And it's very close to when the situation happened. So I'm wondering if she was the one texting him. But I wanted to play this real quick for you guys.
Through it all, Major's new girlfriend, actress Megan Good, has remained by his side, even present for our interview.
How would you describe
So she's interviewing him, and she's in the place. She's there with them.
your relationship?
She's an angel. She's held me down like
There she is.
like a Coretta, I'm so blessed to have her. The relationship is still fresh, but I think I found her.
The March 2023 incident.
So can I say something? And this goes to my brothers. All right, this goes to my brothers. Okay. There's this narrative specifically in the black community that we want women to hold us down and be our Bonnie, be the Bonnie to our Clyde. And I'm gonna say this on behalf of black women. Why do they always have to hold us down? Why are we always putting them in position to have to hold us down? Why not us rise up as responsible men in society And instead of having them hold us down, let us lift them up and everybody else in our community. Why is that always the case? Why? Huh? Why do they always have to hold us down? Either way, here's a situation where another Hollywood actress who was in a high-profile marriage with a pastor and had a public divorce with this pastor is now seeing Jonathan Majors in a time where he is being accused of physical assault to his ex-girlfriend, very closely to the time when they started seeing each other. This is a tough one because now their relationship is starting with a very traumatic experience. And in most cases, in a lot of cases, when relationships start with traumatic experiences, they tend never to work out. Never to work out. And if you look at Megan Good's dating history, she's very accustomed to being with high-profile men. Jonathan Majors was not just on the come up, he was up there and going higher. So anybody like Megan Good would probably look at Jonathan Majors and say, you know what, I really want to attach myself to him because he's going places. Now, just like he was saying, he wants a good woman to help with his greatness. I get that. But he's at a place now where he's at a low point and she's there for him now. And I don't know if he's emotionally ready to be in a relationship, especially going through this traumatic experience, because now he is emotionally dependent on her for support to the point where they've only been dating less than a year and he's considering her somebody like Coretta Scott King. That's big. That's big. And I don't know the dynamics of the relationship, but I think when we rush into things very quickly, especially after a traumatic experience like the one that he's going through right now, it sets the relationship up for failure because then they're moving from one toxic situation to another, to another, to another. My opinion is that Jonathan Majors needs to be alone. He needs to work on himself and develop whatever he needs to develop within himself to become better as a person. Accept the responsibility for the conviction and do whatever consequence the judge dishes out, the sentencing, and not bring her into this. I don't think he should bring her into this, but that's just my opinion here. That's just my opinion. But that's my take on this. I'm praying for Jonathan Majors, and I'm praying that things work out for him because I don't think he's a bad actor. I think he's a brilliant actor. I saw him in the Quantumanium movie, Ant-Man and Quantumanium, and he played that role. I believed he was a villain, and I watched the Loki series, and he's an amazing actor. He is a true thespian. He is, okay? Amazing actor. But I think he needs to do some work. And I agree. I agree, Brother Chavis. I think he needs to really find himself and find Jesus, or find himself in Jesus and allow God to do the work inside of him, starting with salvation. I'm not sure what kind of Christian Megan Good is, but if she's in a position where, and I'm not trying to judge, if she can be in that position to really share the gospel with him, I hope she does that because he needs God. He needs God in his life right now because it's going to get worse before it gets better. It is. Man, but those are the two things I wanted to talk about tonight. And I'm glad that you guys are rocking with me and watching, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. All right? I'm glad you're here. Glad you're here. But, yeah, this is tough. This is tough. All right. I think it's time for me to end this live stream. But I do appreciate everybody for watching. So, with that being said, I keep doing that. Why is it? I keep pressing the wrong one. If you made it this far in the video, thank you. You guys are the true MVPs. Okay? You guys are truly family. And I thank you so much for being here. And shout out to the brother for the $10 super chat. Appreciate your support. And yeah, this is a tough situation with Jonathan Majors. And I'm praying for him. I want him to succeed in life. So prayerfully he succeeds. Okay. If you made it this far and you haven't liked the video, hit the like button right now. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do me a favor and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification next to it. By subscribing to the channel, you are joining the Harrison Extended family here on YouTube. That's what I call my YouTube family here, my community, my Harrison Extended family. So consider joining us through subscription. And you can join us through membership by clicking the membership button down below, or go to patreon.com/Harrison Family Values. Now, if you are a channel member or a patron, whenever I shoot interviews, it will be live. If I have internet where I am, it's going to be live streamed, like uncut live. So you guys will be in the conversation live with whoever it is I interview. Even if I have a chance to interview President Obama, it's going to be live, and you guys are going to be there, and then we're going to chop it up and put it on YouTube for everybody else to see and hear. And so consider joining the channel, being a monthly supporter, and supporting what we're doing here, because we are about promoting faith, family, fatherhood, and manhood on Harrison Family Values, the podcast. What else? If you'd like to support the channel also through picking up merch, we have shirts like this, hoodies, and some of you guys I just got a check. A direct deposit, because you guys are buying up merch. Thank you. Like, that's how you can support the channel and get something in return. Some of you guys may be like, why am I giving you my money monthly? If you're not into that, that's fine. Buy a shirt, buy a hoodie, pick up one of our coffee mugs. Like, support the channel by going to the store down below. And I think even in this video, if you're watching on YouTube, there are merchandise down below that you can purchase. All right, so consider supporting the channel that way. Go to Amazon.com and search From a Fatherless Father to His Sons and purchase my book. You can support the channel that way. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just support the channel. All right, and again, liking this video will help with the YouTube algorithm, so consider liking the video. All right, so with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much, Chelsea, for putting it in the chat. You're on it, sis. Thank you so much for watching, and I really appreciate you being here. So until the next upload, a live stream, I'm out. Peace.